Hello and welcome to the folding tutorial for Voyager, and as you can see there are two different versions of this paper airplane. One of them is an easier version and one of them is slightly more complex and incorporates this locking mechanism that holds our wings in their position, and that's very cool, but this does require a bit more complex origami, a little more attention to detail. But it will perform even better than this version of Voyager if you're willing to take that risk. And they begin very similarly, and then at a certain point in the video I will tell you that the two paths are going to diverge and you're going to have to pick which one of these you would like to fold. So let's get started. All you will need in order to fold Voyager is an 8.5 by 11 inch sheet of paper, but if you are using one of my templates, be sure to orient yours as I have mine here. And with that, we'll begin by folding this right edge to the left edge. And you can see I have already made this crease, so it's very easy for me, but make sure to line that top corner and this bottom corner up correctly because symmetry is going to be very important in this paper airplane, as with all paper airplanes. So your plane should look like this, and we'll go ahead and just unfold this paper back into this orientation. And our next step is to fold this top corner so it lands on the center crease. But the trick here is we want the crease that we're forming to go through this top left corner. And there's only one crease that will do that, where this corner is landing on the center crease and the crease goes through the top left corner. And it's going to look something like this. And I like to kind of just find that point in the top left and start there while I have this approximately on the center crease. And then I can swivel it if I need to make sure I land this right on the center crease. And at that point, I'll work my way out from the center like so. Okay, and then we'll just go ahead and unfold that. And we want to do the same thing on the other side. We're going to fold this point here to the center, making a crease that goes through that top right corner. And then we can unfold once more. And now what we want to do is we want to do what is called a rabbit ear fold. And that means we're going to be folding both on this diagonal crease and on this diagonal crease at the same time. These two that meet in the center. And we just kind of pull the whole thing in like so. And we collapse the paper like this. And you can see we've got this kind of flap, and that is the rabbit ear of the rabbit ear fold. So again, we're just folding on this crease here and this crease here at the same time towards the center, and you can push that flat to make sure all your creases are nicely aligned. And our next step is actually going to be to take this rabbit ear and squash fold it. So you stand that up and put one thumb into the pocket and push down on this spine here of the pocket. And we want to land this crease here on our center crease once again. Okay, at this point we're going to be making a crease that goes right through this point here, this corner, to that corner. But we're going to flip the paper over, and we want to pull and let these flaps go so these flaps don't get folded in this step. So our crease is going to go from this corner to this corner here. And you do it kind of like that, and then once you've got this flipped, you can work on these corners to make sure that you've given them enough room to crease properly. And once you've got those nice and flat and keeping this point on the center line, then you can crease all the way through, and you can see the crease I'm making is actually on a layer behind, behind what is now our top layer. But your plane should now look like this. Next, I'm just going to flip this right flap to the left and fold this edge here to our center crease. Okay, and your plane should look like this. We'll flip the right flap this way again, and now we'll flip the left flap to the right so we can repeat that step on the other side, folding into center. And we can push this flap back to the other side. Now we're going to turn the paper over and fold these down like so, using this crease right here as, or that edge of the paper as your edge for pulling that down. And now you can see we've got this pocket right here in the front of the plane. And what we want to do is we want to actually tuck these into that pocket. And that's a little bit tricky. The first one's pretty easy because it lets you open it up. But basically you're just curling this a little bit and pushing it down and in like so. And you can see now that is in the pocket. The second one is a little bit harder because now it won't open up as easily. So you really want to make sure you get that nice and curved. And you just begin feeding it in like so. And now you can see both are in that pocket. And your plane should look like this. Now, this really is the point where you're going to need to decide whether you want to fold the easy version or the slightly harder version. Now, I'm going to begin by folding the easy version. I'll leave a timestamp in the top right corner if you want to fold the intermediate version. But this easy version is going to take just a few more seconds to illustrate. So, we're going to begin by folding the plane in half like so on that existing center crease. And now all we have to do is fold wings. And the way we're going to fold wings is take this edge here to this edge here. And I'll flip it over and fold this wing to that bottom edge as well. And there you go. We can open up the wings and you'll see this is a finished Voyager for the easy version. All we had to do was fold those wings, and this is going to fly actually quite well, very well. And you can see that this is just a very simple looking plane, but a very beautiful and elegant design, as well as all these layers on the bottom locked together very nicely. Okay, so the next step for the intermediate version is just a little bit tricky. I'm going to make a few creases and then I'll explain to you exactly what I was thinking as I made them so you can make them as well. Okay, so you can see I've created these two kind of converging creases that meet at the center crease, and I want those to meet just a little more than ½ an inch from this top edge of the plane. That's kind of how you decide where to make the creases, and you make them just by kind of opening this pocket on top, and your plane should look like this. Next, we're just going to fold the plane in half, and you can see as we fold the plane in half, this elbow, or whatever you want to call this joint, is going to want to move backwards in the plane, and that's exactly what we want it to do. And we'll lay the plane down like this, and our next step is to fold wings. And basically your wing crease is going to go about a third of the way, or start at about a third of the way along this length of the front edge of the paper airplane, and end about a third of the way along the length of the back edge. But the real determining factor is we want to fold our wings right through this joint, actually just above it, because if you do it right through the joint, you're going to potentially tear the joint. But let me make the wing crease and then both wing creases, and then I'll explain to you again exactly how I made that decision. Okay, so as I open this up, you can see this joint holds our wings together. And the closer you fold your wing to that exact corner, the tighter it's going to hold your wings together, and actually the better the performance of your plane is going to be. But the trade-off is if you go too close, and you can see I maybe left a little more room than I needed here. If you go too close, you will risk probably tearing that corner of the pocket, and then you're just pretty much going to have to start over, which is unfortunate. So you can see my solution here, a decent fold, not as close as I could have gotten, but that was with a crease that looks like this. Again, you're going to have to judge on your own plane exactly where you want to place that crease to fold through that joint there. And once we've gotten this far, we're going to actually just lay our plane upside down like this, because we also want to give it vertical stabilizers on the outside edges of the plane. And basically you just want to fold those parallel to your center crease. So I'll start by folding one. And again, parallel is just kind of my best estimate here. And once I've folded one, I will open my wings up like this, and that is going to give me an opportunity to just book match this other side to the first side so that my plane is symmetrical. Okay, and now we just open all of our layers up, and you can see you have a finished Voyager, and I really think this is a beautiful paper airplane. This is one of my favorite templates, honestly, for a plane that without a template really doesn't look that appealing. But this, you can see the layers all locked together. This plane really is going to fly well for you if you get it dialed in correctly. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video to be helpful. As always, good luck flying your plane.